This is Real Estate This Week with Stephen Gasquet, continuing 16 years on air and online, helping you succeed in buying, selling, and investing in property. The best real estate strategies out there just for you.
Welcome to Real Estate This Week. Hi again, I'm Stephen Gasquet, and I'm delighted you're here as we look at one of the best options for home buyers in today's market, but an option some buyers don't even consider. And we're talking about brand new homes, a big part of the residential market, which typically has less competition, comparable prices, and sometimes lower mortgage interest rates. So, is the new home option right for you? Let's ask an expert. Joining us now is Nanayakkara-Skillington, Associate Vice President of Forecasting and Analysis at the National Association of Home Builders. Danushka, welcome to Real Estate This Week.
Thank you so much for having me, Steve. It's so nice to be back on after so many years.
I am so glad to talk to you again. So first of all, Danushka, what does the recent drop in mortgage interest rates mean to the nation's home builders?
I think the fact that it is now about 6.3, close to 6.3, is a big relief, I think, from the 7% that we saw in the spring, which really put a obstacle for the home builders. But we are also seeing that the most important, the future buyer traffic, the prospective buyer traffic is also looking pretty optimistic. The sales expectations in the next 6 months have also looked in a positive territory from the builder perspective. I think it is largely attributed to the fact that the mortgage rates have come down. So we are hoping it will stay this way. I don't think we are going to see much decline in the mortgage rates for the coming months. It will, we are hoping, settle somewhere around 6%. And that's going to be the new normal, we think. But compared to the last few years, especially right after the pandemic, people got used to seeing everybody refinancing their mortgages to 3%, 3.5%, it's still higher, but I think the new normal is 6%. So we are very much happy to see the mortgage rates trending down towards that 6% range.
Absolutely. And you've got to think that those lower mortgage interest rates are going to bring many more buyers into the market, which could mean a nice end of 2025 for the nation's builders.
Yeah, I think that is true. That's what we are hopeful for. I'm hoping, I think we are also seeing that the mortgage applications have also increased in the last few weeks, and that is directly relation as a response to the mortgage rates coming down in the last few weeks.
I see. And many people know that if mortgage interest rates come down, it's better for buyers, but they might not know it's also better for home builders because lower mortgage interest rates help make building a home more affordable for them. So a question, will those savings be passed along to people who buy a newly built home?
So the thing is this, though. So in finance, a home finance is twofold, right? So on the buyer perspective, it's mortgages. For the builder perspective, it is acquisition, development, construction loans, which is directly tied to the Fed fund rate. And we are expecting some relief in that loan rates coming down because of the 25 basis point cut in September. We're expecting another one in December. So the AD&C loans rates should come down, which should help the builders. Unfortunately, it's just one part of it, right? We have other things also keeping the construction costs higher, such as we don't have enough skilled labor. So when you don't have enough supply of labor, but the demand is high, you have to pay higher wages. We don't have enough lots for the builders to build. We have the regulation cost, which is about $94,000 on a new construction. This is coming from federal, state, and local regulation, comes to about almost a quarter of a new home price. And then, of course, the building material cost, thankfully, the supply chain issues that we saw a few years ago has normalized. But, I want to point out lumber here. Lumber tariffs have increased from 15% to almost 35% this month.
Wow.
And this is a Canadian lumber, and about a quarter of our lumber supply comes from Canada. So I want to keep in mind, it's not just the finance rates, it's this whole package where it's labor, lots, regulation, the building material, all of these things are what keeping the construction costs higher.
Interesting. And the idea that it costs a lot of money to build a brand new house, I think has a lot of consumers thinking that if they're buying a house, they can't afford brand new. But I understand that's not the case. There used to be a big gap between the cost of existing homes and brand new homes, but I understand that gap has shrunk and maybe even reversed in recent years.
Yeah, it used to be the price difference between new construction and existing home, the gap even went high as about $65,000, right? But now that gap has actually closed to about $15,000. And you're right, in 2024, there was a couple of quarters that we saw that the existing homes were actually more expensive than new homes. But, we are seeing both the median prices in existing and new homes have been coming down, which is really good. But the gap is only about $15,000 at this point. So I don't think there's a much difference in a existing home or a new home at this point. The advantage is that you get a brand new home with all the bells and whistles, and you might not need to really do any remodeling if you buy a new home construction. So I think the gap is something to keep in mind. So just $15,000 right now.
And anyone who listens to this show has heard me say this many times, but if they're looking to buy a home, they should look at new homes also, especially because in many cases, the nation's builders will offer incentives to buyers, including in some cases lower mortgage interest rates, sometimes down in the 5% range. Now, a question, do you believe that those incentives I'm talking about will continue in light of the recent drop in mortgage interest rates?
Yeah, I think so, because even on our the housing market index survey that we do, we see about close to 40% of the builders are reporting that there are price cuts they're doing. So this is just a price reduction, about 5% at this point, and they have been doing this for a while. So I don't see any reason why they would cease that,
Right. That sounds good. And so it appears to me that home buyers in the fall market of 2025 would do well to consider new home construction as well as existing homes when they're out house hunting.
I agree with that. And I honestly think, compared to the earlier months this year, if you look at how much the mortgage rates have come down from over 7% to now almost a full percentage lower, and the fact that the house price reductions are averaging about 5%, I think this is a great time to consider purchasing a home. I think the things are looking pretty good.
Excellent. And of course, if you buy a brand new home, it has that brand new home smell.
Like a new car.
Exactly. So Danushka, let's tell prospective home buyers what they can expect if they consider the new home option. First of all, are there enough homes available for all the potential new home buyers out there?
Yes, we have an inventory of about 9 months supply on the new home construction side. So we do have plenty, because a balanced market is considered about 5 to 6 months of supply.
Interesting. So it looks like there is enough supply to meet buyer demand for brand new homes. Now, another question. If a buyer goes to pursue a brand new home, will they face competition from other people who want the same house, or not so much?
I think this is primarily driven by the mortgage rates, right? Now that it has come down, there could be a potential that you could see other prospective buyers who've been on the sidelines coming back into the market. But also, this is a very localized thing too, I feel like, So some areas might see that competition, some areas might not, some areas have more inventory than others. So you have to look at your local area and see what does the housing market really look like in that city or metro area.
Also, Danushka, in today's building environment, if the home is just getting started, they've just broken ground on that new house, what sort of timeline should buyers expect before the house is move-in ready?
So from permits to completion, we are expecting about 9 months that process to take place. And just keep in mind that out of that, about 1.5 months is just from permit authorizations to start the construction starting, and about another 7.5 months to complete. So roughly about 9 months, which is good because compared to the previous year in 2023, it took about almost 10 months. So it was a month shorter at this point, but this is looking at census data on survey of construction. So we get this data once a year. So on the whole, from permit authorizations to completion, roughly about 9 months.
I see. And so, Danushka, let me ask you this. Who buys a brand new house? Do you do any research on who today's new home buyer is?
We don't do too much research into the demographics, but we do know the largest group of new home construction buyers tend to be Gen Xers, basically the forgotten generation. They are, it makes sense because they have higher annual incomes at this point, and the ages, they are in their 40s, mid 40s to mid 50s, and then also the older millennials too. Are in a position to purchase new home construction. So generally, they are, I think, often maybe repeat buyers with higher incomes, and they are like drawn to the new homes because of the modern features and the energy efficiency. I think these are some of the factors that are driving the older millennials and the Gen Xers towards new construction.
Very interesting. And in my life, I've owned existing homes and also brand new homes. And I've got to tell you, a brand new home is pretty hard to beat because every single room is brand new. No one's ever been in it before. It is fresh. It is clean. All the appliances are new. It's really a great experience.
That is what I will aspire to, Steve.
Well, now looking ahead to the rest of 2025 and into 2026, what do you see coming down the line? Will the nation's home builders be able to put up many more houses in the coming months and the coming year?
So, unfortunately, though, I think the starts for single family is going to be challenged for the rest of the year and 2026. We are expecting for the year of 2025 for single family starts to be around 940,000 units. It's about 7% decline from the previous year, 2024. And we expect basically flat conditions around 950,000 units for 2026. The reason is, we are hearing from our builders' sentiment. The rates have been a really big challenge. And the fact that, we have all these challenges on the supply side, the labor, the lot issue, the regulation issue. So all of these combined at the same time, the permits, single family permits are a really good forward-looking indicator for us. And it's also showing that majority of the southern state, which are a huge market for single family construction, are in declines as well. So I think a normalization for single family homes would be around 2027, I would say. Hoping that, we can work through this backlog, work through these challenges in the next few quarters, and then see a normalization for single family construction in 2027.
I see. Well, that's good information, because anyone listening to this who might be interested in buying a brand new house, considering today's lower mortgage interest rates and that many builders provide incentives, now might be the time to do it.
I agree. I think, and at the same time, we have to really think about, I really encourage home ownership, because when you think of owning a home versus being a renter, if you just look at the net wealth accumulation, this is a massive difference, being a homeowner versus a renter. And I know it's, being a homeowner is a challenging, unaffordable, especially for the younger home buyers, prospective home buyers. But I think you should make, I think it should be a priority. Like if some people were lucky to purchase a home 5 years ago to right now, you can see the house price appreciation, how much of equity that you have built in. We might not see that level in the future, but still, hands down, you can tell when you look at the data, being a homeowner versus a renter, there's a massive difference in your net wealth.
Absolutely. And Anushka, I really want to thank you for being on the show today and telling us all about this wonderful option in today's real estate market called brand new home construction. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Steve. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
And to you too. Danushka Nanayakkara-Skillington, Associate Vice President of Forecasting and Analysis at the National Association of Home Builders. Next time on Real Estate This Week, don't be scared. I know, real estate might seem to be so terrifying, you just want to hide under the covers. But we'll tell you why it's safe to come out, because it's not really frightening at all. That's next on Real Estate This Week. And until then, I'm Stephen Gasquet, and thank you for listening.
A brand new episode of Real Estate This Week with Stephen Gasquet drops every Thursday, everywhere. And you're invited to listen, subscribe, and follow us. Just look for Real Estate This Week with Stephen Gasquet. The best real estate strategies out there, just for you.